Greetings, everyone. I am Nyoka Samuels Gilchrist, your intuitive health and wellness coach. Our guest today is Stacy-Ann Samuels. She is a nurse manager inside of the setting of corporate America. And we want to explore how she keeps her authenticity intact holistically. So, Stacy-Ann, please expand on who you are and how you do what you do.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
So I have been a nurse since 2010. Started in the hospital at the bedside, thought I would be there forever. It didn't work out that way. Um, Ended up getting into case management and utilization management. And I feel like that's where I found my lane, right? Struggled a little bit in between because in my mind, the whole time I'm in nursing school, even in high school preparing to be a nurse, I'm like, nurses are at the bedside, they're giving medications, they're doing education, and I'm not at the bedside. Like, am I a real nurse? What does that mean? So I had to take the time to um, find myself and find my groove in this new space as a nurse. And I
Mhm.
really have fallen in love because I feel as though I've been able to become a bridge for the folks that really depend on me to advocate for them, even though they're not patients. They're still people. I'm still helping them. I'm still bridging a gap for them. I'm still helping them to navigate certain spaces and really still being able to advocate for them. So I feel like a nurse again. I didn't for a little bit, to be honest. And I feel like sometimes that's some of the things that we struggle with as healthcare providers. Am I really providing the way that I see myself doing versus being able to shift and navigate and be flexible? So I had to do all of that. I currently work in compliance. So basically, we just make sure that all of the folks that are actually touching the patient and sending things to the members that are like member facing, patient facing, that they're doing what they're supposed to do from a regulatory standpoint. We make sure that that communication is what is outlined for it to be, which is a lot of fun in and of itself. Because sometimes we get labeled as the bad guy because we're the ones going around with the clipboard. Like, you didn't do that right. You have to do it this way, or you're not passing, what have you. And I've had to develop intentional words that I use to not seem so negative. It's very easy to fall into that space. Um, and I would say that because of where I live and how I choose to live, that has helped me to show up authentically. I'm not afraid to be myself at work.
So, when you say where you live, where you choose to live, can you go a bit deeper and have our community understand what that means?
Yes. So I live in the bush where the cows are. Um, I live in a rural community. We just moved here less than 2 years ago from South Florida, big city, lots of movement, um, lots of noise and distraction. And we moved here, and before that, we were in Alabama and got like the precursor to the calm and the quiet, right? And being able to live here, commune with nature, hear nature, go outside and see and smell and touch is really grounding for my spirit. So even though I work from home, like I get up and I go in my office, I'm still at home, but I still needed to be able to manage when I'm at work and what that means mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And where I live, being able to go out and walk to where my garden is, being able to go out and throw some treats at my chickens helps me to refresh. It's a blessing to be able to walk outside for 5 minutes between meetings and go back in. But I also bring that piece of me to work. Everybody knows I have chickens. Everybody knows that I'm growing something. When new seeds pop up, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have asparagus crowns coming up. Um, you have to know the lingo in corporate America. Let's call it what it is. And I'm acutely aware of how I show up um, as a woman, as a Black woman in a corporate space. Um, and sometimes I found myself trying to rein in my Blackness, trying to rein in, those Caribbean parts of me, being a Jamaican woman, trying to rein that in so that it's polished for corporate America. And I stopped doing that. And I would say I stopped doing that about 2 years into my spiritual studies, about 2 years in studying at home, working through within myself how I wanted to grow spiritually, how I wanted to show up authentically, meant that I also had to do that at work. And up until that point, I didn't do that. I was very separated. Work Stacy-Ann and life Stacy-Ann are different. And there's still barriers there, but I show up as me. So when I'm at work, I feel like myself. I could better support and partner with the people that I work with. So when I leave work, I don't feel like I have on a mask and I'm pretending the entire day. People know I'm going to laugh. They know I'm going to make corny jokes. They know that I'm going to try to find a way to figure out what we're going to do. And I think being authentically myself in that space has truly worked in a way that I did not expect.
So there's no one at work right now who is um, encouraging you to not be yourself. There's no one at work right now that is challenging your authenticity.
Oh, yes. That doesn't, I feel like that's a part of life. There are people that you have to work with because you have to work with them. You may not choose to associate with them on the street. Just because I could go outside and ground in the grass doesn't mean that I don't have those challenging situations. And it's just really how I've come to work with it and not be threatened when someone doesn't like my authentic self. That's okay. I'm going to be professional. I'm going to work with you. And that's it. That took time and learning to not take things personally and feel like, oh my goodness, this is a reflection of me the other, you know, 16 hours that I'm not tied to my desk. Um, yeah, so no,
I
there are those individuals.
I, I don't know what I'm going to do about these interviews because every time that a guest says something that I resonate with, the next step is I love how you're gonna have to fix that because I can't keep doing that. Y'all are gonna get tired of me saying I love. But I resonate with I resonate with what you just said. It's so important to understand that we will have those challenges, but that is not a reflection of us. Like what someone else thinks about how loud we laugh or how or how corny our jokes are is not a reflection of us, it's their perception, and we don't need to own that. So I resonate with that, and being authentic means that you have to be able to have things roll off your back in a sense, because oftentimes it has nothing to do with us and everything to do with the other individual. So thank you so much for bringing that point. Let me another question that I have for you, and I think maybe it's because I know you on such a personal level, right? You are my sister. And I wanted to ask you, how do you bring your creativity into your workday? You are a very creative person. You are what we would call an artsy person. You're what we would call a person who resonates with the arts. Do you bring that into your corporate nursing, corporate America nursing setting at all?
Yeah, sometimes we limit art to something that's pretty on the wall, right? Oh, it's beautiful colors, or it's a sculpture, or it's something like that. When I put my PowerPoints together, it is art. I am making beautiful things. When there's a process to be created and we're looking at, the corporate lingo, streamlining and becoming more efficient and reducing waste, that's art. That takes creativity. That takes, brainstorming. It takes being creative in your approach and reworking things and tweaking things for them to really tell a story. There is so much storytelling inside of the work that I do. And part of the reason why I feel like I've been able to navigate it is because I can do that. I like telling stories. I like painting pictures, and I get to do that at work too. It's just how I've started to frame it in my mind, and I still feel like I'm getting to create and build things. And I also lead with that when I have conversations with my boss, when I, talk with folks that mentor me, you know, how can I be creative? What can I do? How can I bring my personality and my flair into this so it's mine? It's so funny. We have this standing meeting every month, and over the past 3 months, I've seen like all everyone else's slides look more and more like mine, to the point that the last meeting, we have like a little group chat, and I was like, oh my goodness, these slides look really familiar, and everyone's laughing, and it's funny, but like that's a testament to I had no intention of creating or transforming how the slides look, but just because I take pride in how I showcase the information and what it looks like for it to be engaging, to see others kind of looking at that and imitating that and emulating that, I was like, okay, I'm doing
I love I really am gonna have to stop that. I'm really gonna have to stop that. I really am. I really am. But the ability to still show up as creative you is definitely a testament to being authentically you. And I want to also say congratulations on your MBA. You recently completed that
Thank
milestone
you.
in your career, and you did it with such focus and you did it with such determination that it is complimentary. If anyone, needs inspiration um, in terms of academics and work ethic, I would really recommend you. So it is something to be celebrated. It is something to be uplifted. And I am very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. You are welcome. So I hear a lot of connecting with nature in your authenticity. I hear a lot of connecting with your creative side. What other ways do you stay connected holistically? We look at all these different dimensions of health. We look at social health, emotional health, spiritual health, cultural health. Everyone knows about the physical and the mental health. But I want to also bring in some other components and ask you, how do you stay holistically centered in today's environment?
So I feel like because I work from home, um, and because I have the ability to go outside pretty much whenever I want to, um, it's not as challenging. That's my thought, right? Oh, this isn't hard because I could get up and go outside. Enter the winter. Enter 14 degrees outside. When I could not go outside, there was nothing growing except for a couple of straggly pine trees. I struggled. And
Yes.
for a while, I couldn't figure out what it was. Like, I just want to went to bed. I went to nothing. What is happening? Like, where's my energy? It's
Yeah.
cold outside. The things that I would normally do to help to boost and maintain, everything looks different now. Okay, what am I going to do to help
Yes.
to shift that? Um, And honestly, I haven't perfected that yet because I'm in a new space where we get all four seasons. Spring is beautiful. I can connect with that. Summer, connect with it. Fall, connect with it. Winter, um, but I pulled on an assignment that I was given, and it was to look at nature and look at the story, right, and how I can connect. So I pulled back on that. And winter is a time of introspection. It's a long time to be introspective. It's stressful sometimes because it's like, how much reflection can I do? Um, when do I get to the more fun things, the blooming and the growing and the blossoming? But that assignment helped me to realize that there's so much preparation that goes into the time from winter. And I tried my best to align myself to that, particularly around the New Year time. My birthday is at the end of the year. Every year I realize that I get a little recluse around that time. Um, and I noticed it for the first time this past year. So I started to become intentional in working on that. Okay, why am I becoming recluse and what can I do to help to kind of shift that energy? Um, and I decided to clean. You know, it's not my favorite thing to do. If I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't do it. But I decided to clean and make space and create beautiful places inside of the house. I couldn't go outside and ground and allow nature to just be. So I created these little pockets, like where I'm sitting right now, these little pockets where I can sit and look at beautiful things, these little pockets that have some memories and connections to art. So when I reflect, not only am I reflecting on what does Stacey need to do to be better, in some of my reflection, there are memories there of, oh, this was a great weekend. And I can pull on that memory and that energy to help push and propel me through the day. Oh, wow, I remember this saucer from when I was a little girl. So I have really been strategic about the things that I put in my home. And I've been doing it for a couple of years now because it helps to reflect who I am and the times when sometimes I forget. I even do it in my office, the things that I put on the wall, the color that I have in the rug, the little things that help to pull on those memories that help me to be grounded and connected. So that's what I found works in the winter, even though I prefer to be outside.
Mhm.
That helps me when I'm frustrated. It helps me when I feel like I can't get any work done. It helps me when I don't feel valued at work because that still happens sometimes. When I don't feel seen, that still happens sometimes. But I've learned that I have to manage it so that it doesn't come out not only at work, but with family. Because
Right.
sometimes you get crabby, you get, miserable. For why? For what? And we don't recognize. So those things help me to not only balance at work, but also with my family.
I The expression of creating inside of your home when you cannot go outside. So you are using interior design, right, in order to um, shift energy and move energy. You're using the gratitude within memories to also shift energy. And I think that a lot of us forget that we have that control, that we
Yeah.
have that power. In in the courageous pursuit of authenticity, the last anthology that I participated in, I co-authored, I talk about the importance of connecting in these creative types of ways because we want to always rein in ourselves. We don't want to lose ourselves. So these
Mhm.
are excellent ways that you are describing to help you stay authentic and look at yourself holistically, the self assessment, the self reflection. So, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. So, one of the things that I want to do is invite you back for our summit. We will be having a summit. It is coming up, and it is exciting for me to get a all the people that I admire and I think are valuable in one place. So, would you please return to engage with us during our holistic summit?
But of course, I would
Thank,
love to. Thank you.
thank you so much for accepting the invitation. There are so many methods, modalities to tap into holistic transformation. And I want everyone to see it on full display. So, again, we thank you so very much for coming, sharing your perspectives, opening up, and being vulnerable with us for the time that you have been. And we're just excited to see more of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just wanted to say one thing that I forgot. Um, in the search for authenticity, don't leave yourself out because sometimes you do that. We're looking and looking and looking all around versus going inside. And we may pick up methods that we see other people, it seems like they've mastered it. It really helps them and it doesn't work for us. And that does not have to be a deterrent. It doesn't have to be something that makes you feel like you're less than or you're not worthy. It just means that that's not your thing. And that is okay because in the pursuit of that authenticity is when you really get to discover the pieces of yourself that you really love, the pieces of yourself that you feel like you need to grow out of into something else. But there's a piece that comes with the journey of doing that that is um it's priceless. So embrace it.
Priceless. Priceless. Thank you for those closing words. Have a beautiful rest of the day, everyone. Until next time,
Yes, until next time, how you say it, peace inside.
peace inside. Girl, I don't know. Some people ain't don't like peace inside, but it's okay. Peace inside.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.